Maybe it got it back, maybe not.
Okay. So if you have questions, please feel free to.
Can you, yes?
Yes.
Can you please say some words about flow?
Flow.
Yes. What does this?
Yeah, well, it's a very popular term now,
Yeah.
like in running and sports and everything. Is, or another word for flow is in the zone. Yeah? So to my mind, it has something to do with this whole left brain, right brain thing. Are you familiar with that? So everybody familiar? The left brain being intellectual and arithmetic and linear, and the right brain being holistic and creative and formal. So for instance, in music, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Counting like that is left brain, but that's right brain. So meter is left brain, rhythm is right brain, because rhythm is a felt experience, and meter is the intellectual definition of that experience. Many times I'll ask somebody to do this, move, like play a note and then move the arm over here and play, and for a very left brain person, it's like, I've seen it, they go, is that what you wanted, Professor? Not exactly. And because that was just a completely left brain interpretation of what wants to be a right brain experience of these two notes blending into each other, and the movement of the finger, which is by necessity moves the key, is superseded by this dance of the arm. Yeah? So that's a right brain experience, whereas I'm going to make it sing. I'm making it sing. But there's something, this control is so muscular and so minute that it kind of gets you stuck, even if it's very good. So that's somebody, to me, that's somebody trying to get into the flow, trying to get into the zone, but because of a certain mode of perception that's going on, that's actually blocking them from getting into the flow, into the zone. So it's a flow. You need to practice like intellectually. You need to understand musical structure. You need to have gone through 1,000 intellectual decisions about this is that phrase, that is that articulation. So there needs to be this left brain intellectual work. And but at a certain point, that the brain is an amazing thing, and we still don't really know how that happens, but the brain kind of digests all that and creates a new gestalt, which is experiencing this piece as I understand it. So when I play, I don't interpret a piece. I don't present you with my previously established interpretation. No, I have a previously established interpretation, and that's there in the background like a template, and now I'm going to explore this piece with you. And we're exploring it together, and I'm experiencing it anew. And so this is a fundamentally different mental, experiential, whole self process from I, the great artist, will present you with my interpretation, which is very profound because I've studied Beethoven for decades. Yeah, sure, but I can get the reproduction on a CD. This I want, the artist wants to experience the thing anew, as if it's a discovery. So some people, they play great, and oh my God, it was so spontaneous. Well, yeah, it was spontaneous because he took all his previously established knowledge about the piece and then somehow throw it all out. Okay, it's there in the background, but now let's explore it from the beginning anew, and like what's going to come out this time. And of course, especially for pianists, you're in a new concert hall. It's a different instrument. So you have to make 1,000 adjustments anyway. So is that going to throw you off? Oh my God, I have to adjust. Or let's just be with this new instrument and feel what's going to come out of this different sounding instrument. Does that answer your question? Yeah, in the zone, flow. It's very popular in sports and performance and all sorts of things. And they write a lot about it. And I like to think that piano somatics is offering ways of accessing this flow state. Strangely enough, by being more aware of the actual physical structure, of being able to sense each bone in this complex structure called a hand, which has, what's it, 3 is 15, plus 4 is 19, plus 8 is 27, and then if you count the radius, the 29 bones, all only to, so there's a lot of bones in there that are interacting, and then of course you can, but people try out this piano somatic stuff and then they do it left brain, intellectually. Oh, this bone and that joint, and then they're right back stuck in this like pedantic kind of way of experiencing. That's the first level. That's, my first understanding by necessity needs to be somewhat left brain. I have to kind of figure things out. But then do you take the next step where there's this mysterious dovetailing of different ideas into a new way of moving. So yeah. Now, so I mentioned that the thumb is very different, and so this is a little bit practical, but it's very, very useful, because many times people will try this stuff and then and then you play a simple scale and then, for instance, we've come down on the thumb, or we move the hand over. We move the hand over, or we fall down on the thumb like that. So, because the thumb is so different. I like to make a little drawing. Come on in. Make a drawing of the skeleton according to a finger, and then the skeleton according to the thumb. And the skeleton on the thumb side has no pelvis, because the thumb is attached directly to the spine. So that's going to make me limp if I'm walking. Yeah. So we have to be able to move the thumb in a way which gets rid of that limp. So most of us, to play a thumb note, we stretch the thumb out, not realizing that now it's tense, because it's got no pelvis to help it go. And so you need to use the arm to help that thumb play a note. So instead of stretching out the thumb like this, I'm going to move my arm. And so in practical terms, many times I'm asking my pianists, would you just please move your hand so that you can't even see your thumb? So you can, on your knee, you can play your thumb like this, or you can just simply move the hand until it's hiding the thumb. Move the hand until it's hiding the thumb. And now, use the thumb to push the hand gently up in the air. Use the thumb to gently, so the thumb is trying to do this, but because it's on your knee, it's like, oh, the hand is going up instead of the thumb going down. Now put your other hand here on these muscles here, and then you'll feel, oh my God, they're activating, they're activating, they're activating. So when this is the thenar group, it's the largest group of muscles in the hand, it moves the thumb. Many people use their thumb without using the thenar group. Look how different this movement feels from this movement. So this movement here is flexing the thumb, but this movement here is opposing the thumb. So you can feel how different they feel. Many pianists do not oppose the thumb when they play. And in a way it's logical, because look, I'm going to oppose my thumb to my fingers. Well, the thumb is going up. How the hell are you supposed to play the piano with the thumb that's going this way? It's ridiculous. Okay, now watch. I'm going to unoppose the thumb. Unoppose the thumb. Oh my God, when you unoppose the thumb, it does a big circle like this. And now it's unopposed. So if I play the thumb by flexing it, the hand falls down. Look, if you try it on your knee, if you just curl your thumb, you see this whole area here, this arch thing, it collapses and it pulls the hand down. It's like, and it doesn't feel good. And you'll feel tensions evolving all the way through up to the neck. And so now, instead of, oh, wait a minute, what about this opposition? Unopposition, opposition, reverse opposition. Okay, how about if I just begin to oppose by going like that? So instead of curling the thumb like this, which on the knee will pull the hand down, I'm going to begin a big circle which will eventually oppose the thumb to the fingers. So just the first part of that circle, that's the movement that we use to play the thumb at the piano. So you notice when I do this, it stands the hand up. It does this thing we just did, which, oh, the thumb is pushing the hand up in the air. So this is thumb under, which tenses the hand and breaks its structure. And this is thumb below, where it's just, oh, it's like, it's a parking lot, and the thumbs get to park downstairs and the cars get to park upstairs. Like that. Most pianists, some pianists know this movement sort of. Few pianists know it 100%, like really everything that the thumb can do when it fully enters the realm of opposition, unopposition, opposition, unopposition. So when I'm playing the scale, if I'm going to the inside, that's right hand descending, left hand ascending, my thumb will do a movement of opposition, and you'll see, if it doesn't do it, yeah, that's without. Now I'm going to oppose. Oh my God. The opposition movement stood the hand up, put the fingers above, the thumb below, also moved the fingers to the inside, and now I'm already there. And now, oh, oppose, I'm already there. Oppose, I'm already there. So if you see a person playing the scale and they're doing these, oh, where's that key? You know their thumb is not doing doodly squat. Their thumb is just not doing what it needs to do. It needs to do this basic opposition movement, which sends the hand to the next group. So if some people, I do it like this, I say, okay, play a scale, and I notice, and you hear your kids, if you teach little kids, there's an accent. But this is a falling accent. And the faster you go, the worse it gets, and it's just a disaster. So replace the falling accent with a stand-up accent. Stand, stand, stand. And if you start with a really good standing accent, then the faster you go, the smaller the accent gets, but it's still there until at speed, the standing accent of the thumb has equalized to the fingers, and you get a smooth scale. So that's scales to the inside. Scales to the outside, the thumb does something even weirder. It does a go-away hand movement. Reverse opposition. Reverse. So here the arm angles over, and then the thumb goes like this. So you see, the faster you go, the more that action of the thumb, the opposition or reverse opposition of the thumb movement, integrates into the cooperation between fingers of the thumb, the actions of the hand as a whole, and you end up with a smooth scale. So it's possible to improve, and of course the same applies to arpeggios. Sorry. And the trouble is, if you observe me very closely, you will see that it looks like my thumb is going under. And it looks like I'm flopping my hand over. That's the trouble. I think that's why so few of us teach this really well. Like, we're all trying to get there, but you see all the time, you see that, because it looks like that's what's going on. But what's different about mine is it looks like I'm putting my hand over, but internally I feel my thumb powered that. My thumb powered that. My thumb powered. Look, my thumb curled in order to uncurl. My thumb curled not to play the note, but to get ready for a really healthy reverse opposition, unopposed. Yeah. So if you're looking at it from the outside, it's very easy to misunderstand what's going on. And so but why am I explaining it the way I'm explaining it? The opposition moves. All this comes from a Feldenkrais perspective. All this comes from an understanding of skeletal structure and skeletal function, how the human skeleton works as a whole to defy gravity, to have us not fight gravity, but be in wonderfully rich and productive relationship to gravity. And the same thing here. Look, I'm floating in gravity. I'm floating in gravity. This is a quick way of attaining to the state of unstable equilibrium. And that's really what unstable equilibrium is. It's instead of succumbing to gravity, instead of fighting against gravity, it's harmonizing with gravity. So in the Feldenkrais Training Center in Paris, there's a poster on the wall that says, "Gravity, it's the law." And so when we go back to the way to technique, we're losing the battle with gravity and then getting it back. So we're letting gravity win and then getting it back, and letting gravity win and letting it back. And we've lost this wonderfully sophisticated action of human walking, which is to always be making that little adjustment where, although gravity is always present, it's never winning, it's never beating us. We're always establishing our harmonious relationship, our harmonious relationship, our harmonious relationship. And at the piano, that allows us to play with much less stress on the hand and much more flexibility in making phrases, in making orchestrations. Yeah. Polyphony. If you stand up, then already the other voice has a million possibilities for voicing. More and or these fingers, it's just that they're just dropping in. They're like not even a skeleton that's standing up, but as if a helicopter was holding me and my legs are like almost on the ground, and then they're just sort of dangling loosely and getting down and touching the ground. So that's related to another aspect of skeletal structure, the Tai Chi walking. In Tai Chi, you don't just walk and walk, you snake the leg out without shifting the weight, and then you shift the weight. Move, take a step, shift the weight. So they separate the taking of the step from the shifting of the weight. Take the step, shift the weight. And to check that you're really doing that and not cheating, you go on the yang leg and you kind of spring up and down like that a little bit, and you touch the floor like that, just dab it. It's an empty step. And so on the piano, if I was standing up on the thumb like I told you before, and then if you just, so let's do it with, not with the thumb, keep the thumb out of it for a moment. So stand the finger up as if, and then try to take a step, like move to another finger, as if you're playing two notes on the piano, and notice, did this hip joint here, did it collapse in the moment that you shifted? Or did the hip joint maintain its standing function so well that actually it was still standing when the other hip joint is now standing fully? And so there's a continuous transfer of the standing function from one knuckle, which is the hand's hip joint, to the next, with no fall, not even, that you see there, that's a little bit of a fall, that's a little bit of a fall, that's a little bit of a fall. That's going to break your line. So this is a super legato where there's two keys held down, and now there's two keys held down, and the join between those two keys is felt at the knuckle as well as the fingertip. Yeah. So you'll see when you try it, there's a tendency to fall down somewhere in there, and it's not that easy to completely maintain the standing function in one finger and go to the other. So then I can try standing on one finger, just tap, 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 stand, tap, 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 tap. And notice whether even just tapping another note, it detracts from the integrity of this wonderful standing action. And the whole point is, of course, to stand not with stress, but to stand with, there's a release. When I stand my finger well, my whole breath just releases. So this unstable equilibrium, attaining to an unstable equilibrium, it's a whole body phenomenon. It's a holistic phenomenon. It's not just building a structure. Allowing that structure to manifest freely, to be a structure and to maintain its freedom within that structure. Okay. I didn't even talk about rotation, but that's for tomorrow, because it's obviously enough already. Any questions? Sure, Professor. Oh, we have a question. Great.
Just related to what you just spoke about, for me personally, it always feels when I go towards the fourth and fifth fingers,
Yeah.
it has more tension naturally because
Yeah.
the beat of the hand.
That.
And I wanted to ask what you maybe think of doing about it.
Excellent question. See, when I give these lectures, I always kind of wing it. I don't like going by a prescribed set of, what I'm going to say. I always, because it's so complex, and basically within the group, then. But that's the perfect next step for this lecture, because I talked about the thenar group, which is this huge thumb muscle. Well, this group here is actually called the hypothenar group. So it's a reflection of the thenar group on the outside of the hand. And we all think the fifth finger is the weakest finger because it's the smallest. The fifth finger is the strongest finger. It's the only one which has this massive bulging muscle there to stand it up. So if I stand my fifth and I don't use this huge muscle there, then it feels very weak and you feel more tension. But try, do a fifth finger stand up. I'll do it on the knee so you can. And then try to bring the fifth to a real 90-degree angle between the fifth and the hand. And then just palpate this muscle here, touch this muscle here and see, or lend our knees like that, and see, and then lie it down again and feel it release, and then, oh my God, if I just pull on the fifth, if you just lie there and then even pull on the fifth just a little bit, oh my God, it's already contracting. And then contract it more, and then, contract it, and then, oh my gosh, when it stands up, and if you really get to the point where the fifth is vertical and this angle is 90 degrees, so the hand is horizontal, the fifth is vertical, you'll feel your shoulder let go. Oh my God. Why did the shoulder let go? Because the hand wasn't doing everything it could to use its structure well, to stand well, to move well. And so the shoulder's trying to help it out. Now the hand finally figures out, oh my God, I just stand on this thing. I use this big muscle here, which is really useful for that. I can breathe. Yeah.